Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today and taking some time out of your schedules. Today's webinar, we are going to be going over how we can simplify commissions within NetSuite, and then also maybe taking those out and simplifying them with Power BI. So hopefully you guys will see some value in what we have to showcase for you today, and stick around to the end. We got a little special offer for you. But otherwise, we will just kick things off and jump right into it. So Ilya, if you don't mind going to the next slide. All right, so a little bit about us and who's going to be talking at you for the next like 30 to 40 minutes. My name is Nick. I am the sales manager here at AlphaBold, and we are joined by Ilya Budimir, who is our NetSuite practice manager. He's going to be running through most of the slides today, as well as providing some demos, and I'll be kind of managing the back end of it. So if you have questions or anything, feel free to pop them in the questions box, and we will try to get to them as best as possible. A little bit about AlphaBold. We are a technology consulting firm based out of Carlsbad, California. We have several different practices here, one being NetSuite, one being BI, using the tool Power BI. We also are a Microsoft partner and can do things like Dynamics and SharePoint and your Office accounts. Then we also have AI, IoT, DevOps, and QA practices. So we have a lot of practices, a lot of knowledge that's being transferred from one practice to another to create simplified solutions, kind of like what we're going to be talking about today. So if we go to the next slide, what we're actually be going over today first is Suite Analytics. So within NetSuite, we'll give a little bit of background on that and its capabilities, because that kind of lends itself into the commissions module. We'll look at the capabilities of the commissions module and then focus in on some of the limitations there and what drove us to actually create a connector to pull that data into a third-party tool like Power BI to make your commission structure or commissions much easier. And we'll give you some actual insights into what that looks like with some examples and demos. And then after that, we will jump into Q&A if there's any remaining questions that we weren't able to answer throughout the webinar, and then we'll go into our offer. So this is where I'm going to hand it off for right now. Ilya, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Nick. All right, so first what I want to do, as Nick mentioned, is really talk about Suite Analytics a little bit. For those of you who are using NetSuite, you must be familiar with NetSuite's reporting tools, what we essentially call Suite Analytics. On the next couple of slides, I will be talking about NetSuite Analytics and how, with the metrics that it provides, businesses can be confident that the growth-related choices they make are substantiated by accurate and timely information. Better yet, when used properly, analytics enable organizations to recognize patterns that can predict and work towards the best possible outcomes. Designed to be flexible, fast, and intuitive, NetSuite Suite Analytics makes it easy to query, report, present, and act on actionable analysis with your data, or present actionable analysis for your data. It's available out of the box, easily customizable with data visualization tools. All this at no cost. It's native functionality in NetSuite. So now I want to take some time to walk you through use cases that are supported by Suite Analytics. Think of this as a staircase of reporting needs. We will review them from the left to the right, starting at the basic reporting needs. So here you can see that in NetSuite out of the box, you have the first level, which is really reports and save searches. That's interactivity that's provided by NetSuite reports and save searches is right out of the box, available to you. Then the next level, I would say, next use case is the need for monitoring. This can typically be done through NetSuite dashboards, KPIs created from save searches, and analytics portlets. So following to the next need, and kind of slowly encroaching onto the AI or predictive analytics world of things, there also may be a need to filter, explore, and visualize the data, right? So, and that information is provided by Suite Analytics workbooks. which also has pivots and charts that you can look into. And then it starts incorporating some machine learning as well. And then slowly we're moving into a scenario that talks about predictability, finding outliers, analyzing patterns. And in NetSuite, you get that information through vendor predictive analysis, which is part of native functionality, and also MRP functionality. NetSuite uses predictive analytics to generate alerts for production planners. So for any other scenario, NetSuite allows you to extract the data from the system into your BI tool of choice, or AI platform for that matter. So to connect to NetSuite, you can use one of the connectors that are available, so such as ODBC, or you can use APIs that NetSuite provides, and those are REST APIs or SOAP APIs. But this allows you to move the data quickly into an external solution that may be more robust than the ERP system and give you more juice, if we may call it that. So moving on, I just wanted to give you some screenshots of what analytics look like in NetSuite for those of you who are not familiar. On the left side, you have a mobile view. This is what NetSuite can look like in your on your mobile device. For any iPads or pad devices, the view also adjusts, so it's really nice. And you'll admit that it looks really nice on regular web browsers as well, through the portlets and charts that you can see on all the way to the right. All right, so next I want to start talking about NetSuite commission module, which really prompted us to discuss the topic and show you what alternatives we have to commission module. But first, I want to focus my attention on the commission module itself, the functionality that's natively available in NetSuite through a module that you can pay for and just enable. So these are some of the screens that are available. You can create employee schedules. You can see that on the left side. And in the middle, you can see commission schedules, a screenshot of all of the commission schedules that you can create. And that's one expanded view of one commission schedule. So now I want to talk about the capabilities of commissions module. So the first thing I want to discuss is the schedules, what I showed you earlier. You can have commission schedules run off of sales, off of quantity that you sell, inventory profitability, or you can create your custom schedules as well. An additional capability is that it allows you to calculate, gives you calculation options based on business or financial segments. So as an example, if you use classes, or for example, you use departments, you can actually create schedules off of those segments as well. And then next capability is that the schedule can actually create a plan. And on a plan, you can add different sales reps or different teams, so that commission can be calculated for your various teams based on these plans. The next capability is the two-step commission approval. So as part of the application, a supervisor of a sales rep will first approve a commission record. And then secondly, a financial approver is available to approve the commission record, at which time that becomes your AP, or you can then pay your sales reps their commissions. So that commission payout is another capability of the module. And finally, a last capability, which makes it flexible, is the fact that you can customize how you generate, how you calculate commissions by using scripting and a field that's available on the line level of your sales transactions. and that is alt sales amount field. So yeah, scripting is available with this module. So next, now we'll focus a little bit on the limitations. Not everything is perfect. So I will kind of walk you through the limitations. So the first limitation is the high cost. So there's a monthly cost of $600 for this module. So if you have rudimentary needs, it may be a little bit too expensive to run this module. Another thing is that you have a limited flexibility, right? So in case where your commission plans are complex, you may not find an appropriate schedule to set up a commission plan. If this happens, you may need to resort to scripting to populate what we call alt sales amount. That's what we looked at earlier on sales order lines. So that also may increase your cost there of rollout. It's not always intuitive to understand how the system came up with certain values, and there are a handful of native reports that you can use to track NS commissions. So you may have certain limited reporting there. Now also note that some of the reports are not accessible from outside, aside from you scheduling a weekly email of an Excel sheet or a PDF file to your sales rep. So that's that limited reporting. Also, the solution itself doesn't manage any accruals. So if your accounting team needs to plan the accruals for sales reps, there's no functionality around this. Last thing, and something that I find maybe the biggest limitation is the fact that this module hasn't been enhanced in probably around 10 years, which for me as a user, as an implementer, is a red flag as well. So that's one last limitation that I wanted to discuss. So next question is, how do we solve your commission problem if we cannot use NetSuite's commission module? Well, we created an alternative commission schedule in NetSuite. We're hoping that will get rid of Excel and its complicated formulas. And lastly, we will increase the reporting solutions processing power by connecting NetSuite's artifacts directly to Power BI. So that is what we hope will be a solution for any of our clients or prospects who don't think the NetSuite's commission module is helpful. So next, let's talk about why we chose Power BI as our solution to connect with NetSuite. So first, I would like to say that as a solution, Power BI supports data aggregation. It also integrates with different sources, with different external applications. It supports a large amount of data, so you can connect a lot of data. If you have a NetSuite with a lot of data, your reporting solution will run really quickly. Also, it gives you different visualization options that NetSuite typically, or any other ERP system typically, won't provide, and that's well suited for BI solutions typically. Also, it has a lot of out-of-the-box connectors that connect to external tools. So if you don't want to use Power BI just for NetSuite, it's easy to connect to other systems, to your CRM tools, to your warehouse management tools, etc. Also, it's a transactional system. So essentially, you're integrating all of your transactions to Power BI, and it allows click-throughs. So if you're looking at a chart, for example, you can click through the data and see the detail. So that's its power, because everything is in one place.
Yeah, and one thing to note here too is just the cost effectiveness of it. I mean, Power BI, for those of you who don't know, it's $10 per user for a license. It is very inexpensive, and when you relate that to like the commissions module in NetSuite where it's $600 per month, you can do a lot more for a lot less money. So one other reason.
Right. Thank you, Nick. So moving on, so let's talk about our scenario, right? So now we're in NetSuite and we're trying to figure out how to create that commission schedule. So one of our solutions is really to create a custom record in NetSuite called commission schedule, and define on that record the name of the employee, our sales rep, set the name of sales rep supervisor, their boss, put in the commission rate for that sales range. And those are the only artifacts and the attributes that we need on that schedule. So that's what we created, and then we tied those schedules to employee records. And if you look at the image on the left side, this is what that schedule will look like on the employee record. And I will walk you through the demo in a second. Next, once we've set up those artifacts, schedules, we can now pull the schedules into a Power BI report, and we can also pull the data set using a workbook, Suite Analytics workbooks. We can pull the data sets into our Power BI solution. So these are the two elements that we had to create in NetSuite: our commission schedule data set and our actual sales data set. So now I will show you what that looks like in NetSuite. So Nick, can you see my NetSuite environment?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. All right, so the first thing I want to show you is I want to show you what the schedules look like on the employee record. So once you create these custom records, they appear right here. Refresh my page. So these are the schedules that I created. I'm going to open one of them so you can see them. And they're very simple. It's a very simple table, essentially, of values. And you can see these are live fields. This is a link to the employee record for Nick. And then we have a range, so from to. And by the way, as you will see later, we apply commission rates only based on the difference between from and to range in relation to the actual sales. Okay, and you will see that in a second once I show you the calculations in Power BI. And you can also see that there's a supervisor's rate here as well. So now that's the schedule. We turned it into a simple data set that we connected with our Power BI. Through our Power BI connector, we connected it with our Power BI solution. So that's our schedule data set. And essentially, there's nothing complicated here. It's a schedule without any filters that can be linked to our Power BI solution. And then we have a workbook of actual sales, so paid invoices. And here I'm demonstrating maybe a filter here for Nick so you can see all the invoices that were paid. And then one thing I wanted to show you for checking and validation, and you can actually also add this pivot to your dashboard. I created a little pivot so you can see a monthly sales for Nick. And here you can see the quarterly sales for Nick as well. And for the simplicity of the implementation, we'll look at the total commission based on quarterly sales. And then as a bonus, I created one chart that can show it to you, and you can expose that also in your dashboard as an add-on. Okay. All right, so that's that for the demo. So let me go back to the slide.
And so just to be clear here, Ilya, this is really just setting up your NetSuite environment to then pull everything into that Power BI dashboard to be manipulated a little bit further and be presented a little bit better within that Power BI instance, right?
That's right. That's right. That's the first step. We configure our objects, configure our data, and then prepare it for the pull into Power BI.
Yeah, and for those out there watching, what we're using is a very simplistic commission schedule where it's just a range. You get within that range, you get a certain level of commission. This can be very complex, and that is one of the reasons that drove us to this as well. Is not everything is simple, especially when it comes to commissions. Every company has its own special uniqueness about it. So being able to take your commissions to an advanced level, that's where you really do need something, a third-party tool like Power BI to come in and kind of help manage that.
Yeah, and mostly for its robustness, the ability to process large number of transactions and run powerful calculations quickly, or difficult calculations quickly, rather. Yeah. All right, moving on. So I want to talk a little bit about our connector with Power BI. So some of the features are that it's REST API based. It connects to NetSuite via REST Web Services or our RESTlets. It supports 2.0 auth authentication, so it's very secure. It provides incremental data load, right? So that data is not overloaded. It's not overloading your Power BI application. It has refreshes that are up to 30 minutes, and it stores data in Azure environment for quick refreshes. Right? So it supports a large amount of data. The solution does, and the connector as well. So now going back into our solution, let's now discuss the Power BI side of things, right? And let's focus on our scenario. And we're looking at Nick's quarterly sales. Nick, you did pretty good here. It's $353,000, $353,652 for Q1. As you can see, that information you can see in NetSuite. Now, the goal is to calculate the commission percentage for each sales range. And we also mustn't forget sales manager's commission or a Nick's boss's commission. So how do we calculate this in Power BI? Well, in the back end, we can create our calculation formulas. Using Power BI syntax, we can calculate these formulas. And the commission is awarded on differences between the lower and upper revenue targets. So you can see that information on the right side, the highlighted column that shows commissions for Nick based on his schedules. And you can see that later that will all be added up. And you can also see in the last column the commissions for the supervisor based on the schedule that was provided. And once this is connected with this information passes to Power BI, the dashboard and the actual report will look like what you see on the right side, with all the slicers, the pie charts, very flexible, intuitive interface. All right, so I am going to show a demo of this so that you don't think that we're making this up. I want to make sure you guys see this. All right. So this is our report that you were looking at, and as you can see, this is our Q1 data. We have information here for Q1. We see data from January, February, and March. What I will do is I will select Nick as a sales rep here. Let me unselect all here, and then select Nick. All right. So now the information adjusted, and you can only see the data for Nick, his sales. On the left side, you see the total sales amount, kind of matches what we saw in NetSuite. We can see the commission for sales rep, which is 16.14K for Nick for that quarter. And then you can see the commission for the supervisor, next boss, June. And then on the right side, we can capture the customer data. Also, when you look at all the commissions for all the sales reps, this pane is very useful. And then at the bottom, we can see all the transactions that are applicable for this sales rep for Nick, and you can see the details, right? You can see all the information here. So you can see commission amount, and you can see supervisor commission amount as well, and total sales. And we can expose more fields. We can also provide filtering by month. We can do a lot of other things here as well. So I just wanted to show you that. Okay. All right, moving on back to the slide deck. Any questions so far? Nick, are there any questions in the panel?
It does not look like it as of yet.
Okay. All right. So I will leave this one to you, Nick.
You got it. Yeah. So really, Ilya, thank you for showing us all this and kind of setting up why we're taking things into Power BI, as well as just kind of how to do so as well. Hopefully everybody on the call or on the webinar has seen kind of what's capable within NetSuite, and then kind of how to take it one step further with Power BI and kind of the connector that we've created for it. And if you are taking that next step to bring in Power BI into your organization, what you have done is almost taken that step towards a data-driven culture. And that's what we're posting on this slide here, is because not only can you do your commissions within Power BI, but now you can expand it to other operations within your organization. And so that way you can kind of drive a little bit more actionable decisions based on data, based on fact, and use the data that you have. You already have this, so why not use it to your benefit and see success from it? And then not only that, but your employees, your staff will see success because you're making decisions based off of your historical data and trends that span not just within sales, but across your entire organization. So you're taking that next step into a data-driven culture, and that's kind of where we want people to drive to. And another reason why we chose Power BI instead of just doing everything within NetSuite, so that way you can take all your information from different sources and utilize it. So if you go to the next slide, I believe, yeah, so one thing that we found, as well as some of the surveys we found, is for how people use their data. There's only about a quarter of the small to medium-sized businesses out there that use BI tools, sorry. And if you, Ilya, I think there's a couple more items on this slide. Yeah, of those, about 65% are using spreadsheets, which are cumbersome, utilize really technical formulas, and are often, they have errors because it is manual entry of data. So we want to really empower people by using a BI tool like Power BI. And as you can see on the right-hand side over there, businesses see 4 times growth year over year by just implementing a BI tool and then driving that data-driven culture. So it is something that is very useful, not just within creating easy commission plans or something for NetSuite, but it can go across your entire organization and you can see growth from that. On the next slide, you'll see there's a few reasons why people don't actually adopt BI tools. One is just that they're unfamiliar with the technology out there. Hopefully today we've shown you a little bit, at least a little taste of what a BI tool looks like and how it can be utilized. And so you can kind of get over that barrier. And 30% of people out there think it's just too expensive. As stated before, Power BI is $10 per user per month. It is extremely inexpensive, really, and especially for organizations who do want to take that leap to a data-driven culture. And then it also can cut out that, what is it, the commissions module or compensation module? I can't remember what the actual title of it is.
Incentive compensation module,
yeah.
yes.
So,
yes.
I mean, instead of paying $600 per month for that, I mean, you're paying $10 for Power BI, and not only that, but opening it up to across your entire organization. So thinking it's expensive is just something that it's not. And especially as the tool grows and as it becomes more powerful, you'll see a lot more returns on investing in something like that. The next slide, we did want to ask, like, are people using Excel for reporting right now? So I'm going to launch a poll, or actually, I have a different poll, and it's, where are you launching, or where are you tracking your sales commissions? And one of those being Excel, because we actually run into a lot of people who do that. Or are you tracking it in your CRM? Are you doing it with the NetSuite? Or do you have it in NetSuite in that commissions module? We would love to hear your responses, so that way we can kind of cater some more webinars in the future that are based on your feedback. So it looks like we have 2 people who are using Excel, and then a couple of people who are just doing it straight in their ERP, whether that be NetSuite or any other ERP. If you are just straight looking for NetSuite stuff on this webinar, that's fine. And then a couple of people in other. I'm going to close this up. Thank you for your feedback. We do appreciate that. So moving into, we did show you a little bit about this commissions report, but I did want to show you on the next slide, there's an example of how you do open it up to the rest of your organization. So for example, this is one of our kind of pre-built dashboards for our connector, where it's a budgets versus actuals dashboard. So again, driving that data-driven culture, making decisions based on actionable insights here. It's huge, and it can really result in a lot of return on investment for you. On the next slide, I believe it's order management. Yep, order management, another piece of your organization that can really see, give you better views into what's going on in your day-to-day in your organization, such as back orders, such as order fulfillment rates, things going out on time. How many orders do you have in the pipeline? It really is something that will help encompass your whole organization to have that visibility there. So on the next slide, oh, we did have a question come in as you come over here. Let me pull up this question real quick. Okay. They noticed the coding page for the setup for the connector. Is that something that this user can easily manipulate themselves, or does it or do the changes have to be hard coded?
So in this particular example with commissions, unfortunately, that has to be hard. Well, it needs to be coded by somebody who understands Power BI, or you can engage us to provide help on that side of things for calculations. So yeah, it would either have to be one of your professionals, your BI experts, or it would have to be us. However, we can come up. We came up in the past with solutions that do calculations in NetSuite as well. So that's something we can explore, and then just simply view the data in Power BI so that the calculation is done in NetSuite. So it really depends on the amounts of data. If there's less data and lesser of you don't need a robust solution that will calculate the large amounts of data quickly, then you can do that calculation in NetSuite, which will require nothing extra in Power BI. Just be able to connect it. If you have more robust data, then it's preferable that the calculations are done in a Power BI tool, in which case you need some expertise to be able to set that up.
Yeah, and then there was a follow-up question about that, where if we were to do those codings for you and everything, we have several packages around our Bold Suite connectors, what we call it, that connector between NetSuite and Power BI, where we can work with you on what exactly is needed and develop it for you. And then we can provide you just with some support after the fact. There is a cost to it, but it's minimal. And it's just as you need it, you come to us and we utilize it. And we also do provide trainings during that whole process as well. So that way you can take a little bit of ownership with your Power BI instance and start doing some manipulations yourself. So that is available as well. We are very much proponents of the train the trainer model. So we like people taking ownership and learning new technologies just like we do.
Right.
And so to kind of wrap things up, we really do hope that you guys did find some value here. And if you did, we would be happy to sit down with you. If you're using Suite Analytics, we can analyze those and maybe make some suggestions around your reports there. We can look at those dashboards and maybe even create some dashboards for you. If you are looking to bring on the compensation module, we'd be happy to discuss that with you, what it looks like, whether or not that's a good fit for you based on the costs and what your actual commission structure is. Or we can determine, hey, you need to pull this to a third-party solution like Power BI. And we can discuss which package is best for you, how best to implement something like that, and give you kind of some insights into what that dashboard would look like for your organization. And ultimately, hopefully we would simplify some of your reports as well as your commissions, and then also start that journey to a data-driven culture and help you grow significantly down the line. So on the next slide, we have our contact information, I believe. Yep.
Yes.
That's our contact information. So feel free to reach out to us if you are interested. We will also be following up with a recording of this session, so that way you can reference it or pass it along to anybody else. And feel free to stick around after we hang up here. We do have a survey after this. We would love to hear your feedback about how we did and where we can improve. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Oh, we did have one other question come in, it looks like. What is the coding language?
Good question. Let me. Unfortunately, I'm not a Power BI expert, so I will have to answer that question after the call, unless somebody on the panel can chime in.
We'll get back to you on that one. No worries. We will follow up with you on that side of things. I'll stick around for a couple more seconds just in case any other questions come in. Otherwise, everybody, thank you so much again for your time today. And that'll wrap things up. We'll give you 20 minutes back to your day.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.